Hey babies! I've been doing some research. And this research is about magic and different types of magic, jinns, and their origins. Where did they come from? How do they get to be here? Why are they part of our society? Why do we know so much about them? Why can you find them in every single culture and folk tale? And why are, you know what I mean? Like, we just need to understand more about jinns. That's what I wanted to understand. So that's what I've been researching. That's what this video is going to be all about, obviously, since you clicked on it and you've probably seen the title. So without further ado, let's get into this video. The origins of jinns. Now, did you guys know that jinns are actually the original inhabitants of planet Earth? So planet Earth was created for the jinns. The jinns are a species that was created before mankind. And the way we know this information is because of the story of how Satan, or the Shaitan, fell down to earth. There's this whole misconception now with Satanists that he's a fallen angel and all he was just sent down to earth to help the humans and he just wanted to see us do better. Yeah, okay. So let's clear up all of those misconceptions, okay? Because I'm sick of hearing about it. Jinns were the original inhabitants of Earth. Long before mankind was even created. They are a species that have many similarities to humans, such as eating, sleeping, having children, having morals, having different religions, having different jobs. They have their entire society. They live just like human beings do. They do pretty much everything that we do, except they're just a different species. They're made of different components. They are made from the smokeless part of the fire, which is the hottest part of the fire, by the way. And that is what they were created with. Meanwhile, humans, such as you and I, unless you're a robot watching this, we are created out of clay, out of, 7 different colors of clay, from yellow to red to all different colors, right? And that's why I feel like, just knowing by that fact, there's different skin tones and there's different undertones to us all. Some of us have a more yellow undertone, some of us have red, some of us have dark, some of us, you know what I mean? So there's all these different skin tones, and I think that's because we were created originally with so many different colors of clay. Just like human beings, jinns have free will, right? So you and I, we were created with free will. That's why we were given a brain. That's why we were able to think, make decisions. We're able to read and gain more knowledge and intelligence. And that is a gift from our Creator. For the jinns, they have free will, but they weren't given the seed of intelligence. They don't have the type of intelligence that we have. We have critical thinking skills that go beyond a jinn. They would never and will never be able to understand it because their mentality isn't at that level. So they are the first creation that God created that had free will. And they failed miserably because while inhabiting earth, they caused so much mischief. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tried. He tried to give them so many different warnings, give them different messengers to gain some kind of guidance as to what they're supposed to be doing here on earth. And every time a messenger came down who was trying to give them some type of information, they would just kill him. So that would explain as to how ignorant a jinn really is. They can't understand logic. They can't follow you. Meanwhile, humans, we've been sent down so many different prophets that I feel like some of us got the message. Meanwhile, others missed it. And I think that's one of the main things with free will, is that some of us will make it and some of us won't. So anyways, but at this time for the jinns, they were so lost that they killed every single prophet coming down. And at this time, Iblis, who is aka the devil, aka the shaitan, aka Lucifer, aka whatever, he has so many names, okay? But Iblis is his original jinn name. He was actually one of the good jinns at the time. He was the one here on earth at that time that was trying to voice some reason to his people. He was trying to get them to understand the error of their ways. He was trying to let them understand that there is one creator that created everyone, and this is your creator's wish for you guys. And it was just falling on deaf ears. But the more Iblis was doing good, the more elevated he became with his creator, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So he was doing so well that eventually he elevated all the way up to the status of an angel. And an angel, as we all know, does not have free will. And that's why angels are just so special, because they can't do any wrong. They have no nifs to do anything wrong. So an angel, to be raised to the status of an angel, now that is a high honor in fact. So part of the way that Iblis had, elevated in rank was that he worshipped Allah more than anybody else on God's green earth. He was the epitome of good deeds. He was the epitome of good nature. He was such an angel at this time, and that's why he elevated to an angel status. Now, once he elevated to an angel status and he was in heaven, he then asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give him an army of angels to send back with him to earth to banish these evil jinns and curb the violence on earth. So he requested from Allah, please give me something to help, give me angels, give me something to help me, fight off all of this evil and chaos that's going on earth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he obliged. He gave him this army of angels, and they went back to earth. And guess what happened next? Do you guys know? No? Okay, I'm gonna tell you. Relax. This is where it gets good anyways. Hi Habibi. You're looking mighty fine today. All you need is love and coffee. And me, Gorgilux. Yeah, watch Gorgilux channel all the time, every day, all day. Oh, you guys, I never plug in my social medias. I feel like I should at one point in one of these videos, so let's do it now. Follow me on IG at Gorgilux. Follow me on Facebook at Gorgilux. Follow me on Snapchat at Gorgilux. If you play Call of Duty Mobile, follow me on there, Gorgilux. You play Among Us? Me too, Gorgilux. What else? Oh, I have Discord too. Do you guys, I don't know, do you guys do Discord, or is that like a young people thing? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted his request, and he did exactly that. He went back to earth. He took his army of angels and he annihilated the jinns. Not completely. There were still some left in scarce numbers, but they were so scared that they scattered off into different directions on earth and hid in the most, hidden corners, the crevices of earth. Iblis did something good, right? We're all still on the same page. Iblis is still a good guy. Satan is still a good guy in this story so far, right? Now this is where it gets good, because we all know he doesn't stay a good guy, don't we? Yeah. Now when Iblis returned to the heavens, Allah knew his intentions, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows every one of our intentions. Allah can see through you to the intertwinings of your heart, and he knows why you're doing something. So if you're given to charity but you're doing it just to show off how much money you have, well, Allah knows that. If you're given a charity and it's really coming because you want to help this person, you feel for this person, you love that person, you want to see them do better, Allah also knows that. So keep that in mind. But Allah already knew what was in Iblis's heart. He already knew why he was doing all this, but he wanted to show Iblis himself his own intentions. And how does Allah do this with the rest of us? He exposes ourselves to ourselves. He exposes us to ourselves, if that makes any sense. So instead of Allah just being like, I already know because I'm God, and I already know that I can't trust you because this, and that, you're going to be standing there like, with what proof? It's just like in Among Us. I'm sorry. I don't know why I play that game so much. Anyways, it's just like in Among Us, you know? You don't accuse someone without any proof. They have to do something for it to be more believable by the rest of the group, right? Same exact thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows this. So he lets people expose themselves. That way you can't turn around and be like, look how unjust our Creator is. He sets us up for failure. No, in fact, he gives you many repeated chances to fix your behavior. He gives you realizations. He gives you all kinds of different opportunities. And it's really up to you whether or not you want to listen to them or if you want to ignore them and continue doing the same BS that you've been doing all along. But as soon as Iblis returned to the heavens, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, amazing as he is, already knew Iblis's intentions. So in order to prove Iblis's intentions to Iblis without calling Iblis out, without any proof, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does is he creates these scenarios to see how you will react, right? So this is what Allah did next. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is what he did next. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then created Adam alayhi wasalam. Adam alayhi wasalam, he was created to prove to Iblis that all he was looking for was power and admiration of his own. That he did all of this for selfish purposes. He elevated himself to that extent because he loved the power. He loved feeling like he was special in some way. He loved knowing that he was the only jinn to ever accomplish this. And so, with that information in mind, that is when Adam alayhi salam was created. And that is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had asked Iblis to what? Yes, prostrate along with all the rest of the angels to the jinns. What? Astaghfirullah. No. Astaghfirullah. Bismillah. No. That's not what I meant to say. And that is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him to prostrate with the rest of the angels for Adam alayhi wasalam. And did he do it? Where are my Quran people at? Come on. No, he didn't do it. But if you're a Satanist, you're like, of course he didn't do it. Why would he? He's better than us. Now, Iblis refused to bow down to Adam alayhi salam because he knew the significance to the bowing. Iblis is not an idiot, okay? Iblis is actually one of the smarter ones of the jinns. He was smart enough to elevate all the way up to an angel. So let's not call him a dummy, okay? I don't believe the devil is a dummy. I believe he is selfish, egotistical, and hungry for power, yes. And jealous, oh, immensely jealous, absolutely. But do I believe that he is dumb? Absolutely not. Do you see what he's doing with the world right now currently? The man is smart. Well, he's not a man, but the guy, you get what I mean. The devil is a smart guy. What? He's not a guy. The devil is smart, okay? He knows he has a plan, and he's sticking with that plan until this plan is executed and done with. That bowing wasn't to show worship, because it wasn't about worshiping mankind. It wasn't like the jinns are now supposed to worship us like we created them. No, we didn't create them. The bowing, Iblis knew that this bowing was significant to the effect of knowing where his place was when it came to mankind. He knew that if he prostrated, then that's showing what Adam alayhi salam, what power he had over Iblis. And that is where he said, nay, nay. No, 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 no. I ain't bowing down to this peasant. Well, astaghfirullah, but that's what Iblis was thinking, okay? So it was to show the power Adam alayhi wasalam, what he had over the jinns and angels. Both the jinns and angels prostrated for Adam alayhi wasalam, everyone except Iblis. This is when Iblis asked for more time, and he got that and made the promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he was going to take as many humans with him to hell as possible. He said he would prove it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we would forget him and we would be ungrateful. Didn't I mention that Iblis is actually a really smart entity? Because was he wrong? Some of us did forget him. Some of us are ungrateful, aren't we? Some of us will sit here and discuss Satanists and Satan entirely, but will never, ever speak God's name. Why? I don't even understand how that makes sense. How can you speak about the devil and Satanists if you don't believe in God? Who do you think created the devil? So you can't have one without the other. I don't know. But people will make up whatever excuse they need in order to stay in denial, in order to still be able to do the things that they want to do, and not have to think about consequences or about other people, or ew, another person's emotions. Like, ew, I don't want to take that into consideration. Ugh, I have all of my emotions to deal with. Like, I just can't. But Iblis was not wrong. Some of us are ungrateful. Some of us are super self-centered and we totally forgot about God. But after he refused to prostrate, that's when he was sent back to earth. And that is what the Satanists refer back to as the fallen angel effect or whatever. But in technicality, he was never an angel. He was just elevated to the status of an angel. So all of that Luke 10:18, oh my God, have you guys seen the Satan issues that came out with Lil Nas X? Like, what is going on with the world? One drop of human blood? Ew, first of all, disgusting. Second of all, what? How are these Satanists just so out in the open about this? Like, oh, but when we want to talk about God, all of a sudden it's, oh, you're pushing your religion on me. I don't like it. Oh, it just makes me feel so uncomfortable. No, Sally and Karen, what makes you uncomfortable is your own personal issues. You don't want to face your creator, and that is not my problem. I am not responsible for your emotions. You need to control those. I will speak about what makes me happy. And what makes me happy is speaking about Allah and my religion, because that's what saved me at the end of the day. It wasn't you or them or anyone else. I'm going to keep talking about whatever I want to talk about, and whoever stays, stays, and whoever goes, goes. It's not my problem. Okay? Again, I am not responsible for your emotions. So if you feel some type of way, then you feel some type of way. It's not making me feel, it's not me who's making you feel that type of way. It's whatever issues you personally have between you and your creator, whether or not you have that connection or you don't. Okay? And that is my disclaimer, my only disclaimer for this video. Moving on. Okay, so now that we've learned a little bit more about the origins of jinns and how Iblis came to his position in our society today as the devil or the shaitan, the one whose main goal and purpose in life is to disrupt mankind, is to take down mankind, is to disassemble mankind and disconnect us from our creator. That is his main goal. As well as to spread jealousy, envy, greed, all of that good stuff as well, you know. Spread chaos, Anytime something is chaotic, you can kind of tell that Iblis has his hand in it, okay? Or his claw. Anyways. Now, in previous videos, we've also discussed how jinns and magicians, how they connect with one of another, right? So we've spoken about how a jinn and a magician coordinate based off of a deal, that jinns, you know, the magician doesn't pay them with money or anything like that. That's not the currency that they go with. Their currency in their environment is based off of what do they cause a human being to do. If they are able to break up a sibling bond, they get elevated in status. If they're able to create some kind of mischief between two friends, a disagreement, they elevate in status. But the ultimate elevation for a jinn, the number one thing that they can do to a human is, do you know? Break up a marriage. Yes! Break up a marriage. Why do you think that is the number one thing? Think about it. And then think about what's going on in today's time. Are marriages, the talk of marriages, are those going up or down? Down, right? Is there more side chicks in this world and baby mamas more than wives? Yes. How to identify a magician? If they ask you for your name or your mother's maiden name, that is how a jinn identifies you. They see as humans, you and I, unless you're a robot watching this, they see us as bastards or degenerates, or basically they don't acknowledge us by our father's name because of that reason. They look at us as all scum, so they call us by our mother's name. So, if a person ever asks you for your mother's name, for your name, be wary of that individual, because in today's time, what do we really use our mother's name for? Nothing. Everything is under our father's name. So, when a person is asking you for your mother's name, that should send you a few red flags. Like, what do you need to know this information for? Okay? So, if they ask you for a sweaty garment and claiming they will cure you with it. Another one that's new nowadays are these crystals. So there's more and more people on Instagram and everywhere else where they're dealing with the crystals, and what they do, they say, oh, I have to charge my crystals. I gotta charge it with the right intention. Girl, what is that crystal gonna do? It's a crystal. Lord. And they say, no, it's just full of these really great properties that help with so many different healings. Well, you know the hexing video that I did? It's a Paranormal Storytime where I was talking about one of my family members, how they were hexed by a Moroccan lady. Oh my God. So, they actually seen that Moroccan lady recently at like the mosque at some Eid thing, and she was just looking at them super crazy, and it's been years since they've been cool, so it's just a trip to me. But remember that individual that I was speaking about in that story? Well, she recently told me that she went to a Chinese healing. It was a crystal healing, something. It was a massage of some sort, and she tried it out. She said it was this new up-and-coming thing. And while there, they were telling her that this is how I'm going to heal you. I'm going to use these crystals. And what they would do after that is that they had her lay there, and they would take the crystal and they would, move it over different parts of her body, and then they would start whispering stuff. They would start whispering things. And we all know anybody who is whispering or mumbling words around you, be wary of that. that person is a magician. Not only that, but this individual was claiming that he was going to heal the pain inside of her with this crystal. So, she was telling me that she heard that now a lot of these individuals who are doing this old ancient Chinese healing thing with crystals, all of them work with jinns. So, a jinn can easily create a pain in your body out of nowhere. Like, they have the ability to get into your body, get into your brain, get into the part of the brain that is in charge of pain and this and that, and they're able to mess and tweak with things and make you feel things that aren't really there. So when you go to the doctor and they do their diagnosis and they're like, we can't find anything wrong with you, I have no idea why you're feeling this pain, or why do you think you feel this pain, usually that's because a jinn is behind it. Now, I'm not saying that every time you go to the doctor and they can't diagnose you, then it's a jinn. What I'm saying is that if there's no other logical reason, so they did all their testing, everything looks normal, and they have no other explanation, more than likely it's something spiritually, something energy-wise that's attacking you. Okay? So there's that. If they ask you to get a certain animal with specific features, such as a black dog, a black cat, a black goat, a black rabbit, you getting the idea? They love the color black. If they recite unclear incantations, adds whispers in between words, or speaks backwards, they are a magician. Okay? Informs you of your name, your relative's name, etc., or claims to know the unseen or future. Now, we all know that only our Creator knows the future and knows the unseen. So anybody claiming that they even have an inkling of an idea of what's about to happen, they're playing with jinns, they're magicians, they're doing something funky that you should probably stay away from. Let's get into the 10 major signs of magic, which is probably the main reason as to why you clicked on this video. Of course, I gotta leave the best for last. Now, the 10 major types of black magic are as follows. Now, I gave you one earlier, and the number one reason as to why people use magic and get into contact with jinns is to use the Magic of Separation spell. And that Magic of Separation spell is usually used on a husband and wife scenario, which is, again, the highest form of accomplishment for a jinn, is to break up a marriage, okay? So, these are the symptoms. If you've experienced these symptoms, be wary. So, and remember, when we're trying to figure out if something has something to do with magic or not, always be wary of sudden changes. So I'm talking about sudden. Out of nowhere, you can't stand your husband. Out of nowhere, your skin crawls when you see his face and you just want to punch it every time. You know, out of nowhere, do you feel like you don't want to hear anything he has to say. You don't have any patience for this guy. And it's just out of nowhere, because the day before you guys were all good. You guys were happy. You guys were having a good old time. Everything was normal. So I'm talking about sudden changes. And that is what I found out is the main thing with magic, is that the majority of symptoms happen suddenly. It's not like a gradual thing where it's like one day you wake up a little bit sick, the next day you just feel so tired, and then the next day after that you're just in a comatose state. No, I'm talking about you were energetic the day before, and then today, out of nowhere, now you're just in this coma-like state. You're completely fatigued, and you can't think clearly, and things just aren't making any sense, and you're like, what's going on? Yesterday I was feeling so good, I had a good day, I had a good time, and then out of nowhere today is just not the business, you know? So that is the one thing to keep in mind, is the sudden change when it comes to the majority of these symptoms. So I know a lot of them you can identify with, like, oh, well, that could be, oh, but you know, it's always the sudden changes, completely sudden, 180, 360 turnabout changes. Okay, now that I made that very clear, moving on. The next spell that is mostly used by magicians is the magic of love. And this magic, I have noticed, is prominent in like down south. I've heard from so many people that have been to Florida, that have been to the South, such as Atlanta or Georgia, or, you know, that area. Well, a lot of those individuals have always told me about some crazy story that happened to them of a person that they knew that disclosed that they did a love spell on their significant other. And remember from the hexing my relative video, one of the main reasons why we felt like that lady did what she did to my relative was because we thought she did a magic of love spell on her husband, because their relationship just didn't make any sense. So does it happen? Absolutely. And I've always heard different stories from, like, this girl was cooking dinner for this man that she really liked, and then she ended up putting some of her menstruation blood, and something else into the spaghetti and had him eat it. And then ever since then, he's just been completely obsessed with her and will do anything that she wants. I'm talking about that type of weird, random, ew. And everything that you do in order to get a jinn to do your bidding always has to be disgusting. Like, so that story is believable to me. I can see a jinn asking you to put your menstruation blood into a freaking pot of spaghetti and then feeding it to, oh, that's so disgusting. But those are the types of things that they want you to do. They want you to be degrading towards others. They want you to be disgusting towards your fellow human beings. Ugh. Anyways, magic of love. And the magic of love symptoms are as follows. Remember, being sudden is always important. Sudden changes, okay? So usually this is, like I said, the example that I just gave you, or it could be even something where they have to go and put this item in front of a spot that they know the person's going to pass by or pass over, and once that person passes over that item and spot, all of a sudden they have this obsession with this individual. So it doesn't always have to be something that you eat or consume. It could be something that you've also just walked over or touched. Again, remember my warnings in the first paranormal story time I ever gave you guys, and that was the one about my cousin in Egypt having jinn babies and all this other stuff, right? Oh, I got an update for you guys on that one too, by the way. Which I'm not going to get into this video because I already feel like this video is already extremely long for no reason. I just talk too much. But the remember in that video I was talking about how he had did something to a ring, and then he had given the ring to my mom to wear, and then all of a sudden my mom just felt like she got sick out of nowhere. Again, those sudden changes is what I'm talking about. What, Hubes? Yes? What? Hi, Hubert. Hey, pretty boy. What do you want? What do you want? Look, say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Number 3, the magic of hallucination. Which is, you know, obvious. There isn't really much symptoms to that, because if you're hallucinating, you're hallucinating. And that's when you see objects that are immobile, all of a sudden they're moving, they're changing from size, and they're changing and forming into animals, stuff like that. And I also have a story of, so I feel like my cousin at one point, she was hallucinating. That's a story for another day. I can see, this is exactly why it takes me so long to get through all of these videos, is because I always want to go off on these tangents because I have too many stories to tell you guys. So please subscribe, and that way you guys don't miss any of my awesome stories. We suffered for it, so we might as well share it so it doesn't happen to other people. So please, please, please subscribe. Why am I begging? Subscribe if you want to. I don't care. Still gonna make the videos. Anyways, no, I do care. I do care. I want this channel to do well, and in order for it to do well, you guys have to subscribe. It's just a click of a button. Number 4, Magic of Insanity. Oh my Lanta, do I feel as though someone did this spell on me. Did you guys know that I actually was, I went 5150 at one point in my time, in my life, at like one of the worst times of my life. I went 5150. I still need to make that video because I do plan on exposing the mental health industry. They thought I was crazy, but really I was sane. I was just extremely sad. But I was very observant as to what was going on around me. So I do plan on telling you guys that story sometime in the future because, again, there are legit people who have mental problems that go to these places. And what I saw and how I seen them treat these individuals was just disgusting and inhumane. And I feel like it needs to be spoken about because most people will not speak about it because then they feel like they're exposing themselves. But you know what? I'll expose myself. I don't give a damn. Yeah, I went 5150 and I'm going to tell you all about that when that time comes. But until then, Magic of Insanity. Now, these are the symptoms for it. And again, remember, these are sudden changes for these symptoms, huh? Oh yeah, so the Magic of Insanity, right? What if all of these quote-unquote crazy people that are on the street, what if they're just hexed? That did cross my mind. Even schizophrenia. A lot of people like to chalk schizophrenia up to a mental disorder, that it happens to certain individuals at a certain time. I really do believe, and I've always thought this ever since I was studying psychology and I was studying schizophrenia in itself, it always crossed my mind, like, what if these people really are seeing jinns? What if these jinns are driving them crazy? And then the more that they're trying to explain to others around them that there is someone who's talking to them, that they do hear voices, they're just considered to be more and more crazy and more and more disregarded. So what if all of these people that suffer from schizophrenia really suffer from spells and magic and hexes? That's just an idea. I'm just saying. Because I really don't know, but to me, that's what I want to personally believe. Because it makes the most sense. Schizophrenia itself doesn't really have much of an explanation for you. So maybe that's why. Anyways, number 5 is the Magic of Lethargicness. And these are the symptoms right here. Yeah, you see them. Okay. Now, I also feel like I've had this spell done on me. I feel like a lot of these spells were done on me when I was going through that depression state of mind, because it really took me through all the different steps up until the point where I was thinking about, you know, the word that YouTube hates. But in order for me to have gotten to that state, do you understand what was going on in my head? There were so many different components that were going on in my head, and it was all whispers, because I would hear things, I would hear conversations going on in my head that I knew weren't coming from me, because it was conversations such as, like, everybody hates you, you're so disgusting, you should just go kill yourself. You should just give up on everything. There's no God. It really felt like the devil was in my ear so tough in those years, just based off of the things that were going on in my head. I mean, alhamdulillah, I didn't ever hear voices whispering out loud. I already knew that I thought they were my own thoughts at that time. And then when I woke up to it all and I started doing more research and I started getting more and more into my religion, I figured out that those weren't my thoughts at all. And that made more sense to me because I was like, I've never hated myself. I never thought of myself as disgusting. How is it that this is what I'm thinking now? Anyways, magic of lethargicness. So, I love to be secluded. I absolutely love being alone. I still get social anxiety when I'm trying to go out into the world. If it's a crowded place, just know that I am anxious and I am trying to work through it. So I know that it's all in your head. You know, anxiety is majority all in your head, and it comes from overthinking, and you just have to be very vocal with yourself, with your inner self, not out loud, because then people are really going to think you're crazy. But number 6, magic of nightmares and hearing voices. So this is another one. I'm telling you, when I first started this channel, I was having nightmare after nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. From me jumping from one parallel universe to the next parallel universe, and me jumping to different worlds, running from this group, this crazy monster looking group, just seemed like jinns in my dream trying to mess with me. We all know. Now I hope, because you guys watched my dream demon and dead grandpa video where I explained more about dreams in that video, right? That nightmares come from who? The shaitan. Yes, the shaitan. So when the shaitan was in my ear during that time, I'm telling you, I was like in a comatose state. It was very difficult for me to wake up. I was stuck in these nightmares, like they wanted to keep me in there so they can keep torturing me so I wouldn't be able to record any videos for you guys. They were really trying to block me. Ooh, so tough then. And if you look at some of my past videos, you can tell when I was having those dreams and nightmares around that time. My energy was super off. I was just super off. Most of those videos don't have a lot of views. So, which I don't blame you guys, because when I re-look at the video, I'm like, what the hell was I on? Oh my god, like, what was going on with me? Yeah, so, girl, yeah. Anyways, these are the symptoms. Again, this one I feel like goes towards the schizophrenia patients, because they're the ones who hear voices, and I'm sure they must get nightmares. And currently I have a cousin who everyone is trying to say has schizophrenia. But I'm telling you, I lived with him as roommates back when he was normal. And this change that came about him came out of nowhere. And out of nowhere, one night he was walking around with a knife. And I remember going up to him like, hey, I won't say his name just to respect his privacy, but hey, why are you walking around with a knife? What's going on? And he's talking about, they're trying to come for me, they're trying to kill me. And then he would look at me like, oh, Iman, okay, hey, Iman, yeah, they're trying to come for us. And I'm like, who, can I have the knife back? Let me just hold the knife real quick. No, I gotta protect myself. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? What is going on right now? And anyways, he was hearing voices, he was seeing things. All of a sudden he was outside in the middle of the night, he was screaming and howling at the moon, and it came out of nowhere. So I don't know. A lot of people were trying to say that it's drugs. A lot of people were trying to say that it's other things. I honestly think it might just be jinns that are messing with him, because even when he came to our house after that, my dogs hated him. And we all know that dogs and animals, they see the parallel universe. They see jinns. They see things that we do not see. So when you see that your cat or dog is just barking at a corner, a random thing, be weary, because I think there might be a jinn right there. Especially if you don't see anything, and especially if everything seems normal and they do this on a repetitive basis, be weary. But they hated him when he came over. They couldn't stand him. Mejia wanted to literally rip him to shreds. And he was just so different. Like, his personality completely changed. He was this, like, bright, happy kid to this, like, when you looked into his eyes, it looked like there was no soul there anymore. It's almost like looking into a dead fish, you know? Astaghfirullah. Bismillah. I don't know what it is, but, you know, I pray for him every day, and I don't know. Let's just get back into this, because that's kind of depressing. I don't want to think about that. Okay. Magic of illness. Now, this is what I was mentioning earlier. So the magic of illness, these are the symptoms. So when you're constantly ill, when your symptoms come out of nowhere, when doctors will not be able to diagnose and understand why you are experiencing this. Those are the main indicators as to someone did this type of spell on you. Okay? And before I move forward, I just want to make it very clear that in order to combat this, you just have to have a good, strong connection with your creator. If you're always having conversations with your creator directly, you're going to be protected. That's what most people don't understand, is that jinns don't really have that much power and control over you. Only over the people that have no connection to God do they have this ability to do this with. And that cousin that I mentioned just, you know, from the last one, he was a byproduct of, he was lost in this world. He didn't know much about his religion because his mother took him away from us. She had converted into Christianity, and then she taught him all these different things and messed with his brain. So when he reconnected with his father, because she kept him away from his father, and he was teaching him about Islam, he started getting feeling a lot better. He started reconnecting with us, his other cousins, and everything like that. But then his mother would always be this main, like, nagging voice in his head. So the more he leaned towards us, the more she just became more and more distant. She treated him differently. She would use manipulative tactics to make him feel bad, guilt him, shame him, you know? And when you're doing that to a child, especially a child that's trying to find his way in life and trying to figure out what his path is, trying to figure out what is there, you know what I mean? What is my purpose here on earth? That is extremely confusing for him, you know? Who do I believe? Do I believe my mother or do I believe my father? So, yeah, that's what happened with him, you know? I don't know what to say to that, but it is what it is. Magic, okay. So, we talked about number 7, magic of illness. Now let's talk about number 8, magic of impurity. Now, this one is done mainly on women. These are the symptoms. But what's crazy is that I feel like my mother suffered from this. Because my mother, I remember she had to go to the doctor and they weren't able to diagnose her either. They were doing all these different tests. Until this day, they still weren't able to figure out as to why she was constantly bleeding all the time. Why would a magician want you to remain impure? Because even in Islam, if a woman is menstruating, she is not allowed to pray. She is not allowed to touch the Quran and read it. I heard some debate about that one, but I'm pretty sure that that's correct. If I'm wrong, please explain to me in the comments as to why I'm wrong. But that's as far as I know. Again, I'm no expert. I'm not a sheikh or a sheikha or anything like that. So I'm just a regular person on the internet talking. But causing a person to remain impure, think about it. If you're unable to pray, if you're unable to read Quran, that lowers your energy level, right? It lowers you to the point where now you are able to be messed with by the jinns a lot easier. They can access you a lot easier. So I think that is the main goal with that spell right there. And again, I feel like it happened to one of my family members, because even this family member went to the doctor. They tried to diagnose her. They couldn't find the reason as to why she kept bleeding for years. It was like a year of constant bleeding. So, which is not normal. They went in with their little cameras and her intestine and all of this stuff, trying to find a leak somewhere. They couldn't find anything. And then the minute she started doing awrad, which are the beads, the sibha, she started reading more and more Quran, all of a sudden, it started to go away. It started to heal on its own. So, I'm just saying, keep that in mind, that this is one of the spells that a lot of magicians like to use, and it's for that reason right there. Now, number 9, magic of impeding the marriage. So not only do jinns try to break up a marriage, but let's say that you have yet to get married. They also try to cause you to not want to get into a marriage to begin with. So, which I feel like is a lot with me, because for years I used to always say, I do not want to be married. I do not want to get married. I want nothing to do with marriage. Any person who ever proposed, any person who ever was trying to get to know me in that sense, automatically I was just so turned off, and I could find the littlest things wrong with them that really didn't matter at the end of the day, but it was like illogicalness. Sometimes I didn't even have to hear about a person. I just had to know that a person was interested in me, and I would be like, ew, no, which isn't normal. So these are the symptoms for that. And, yeah, I was rejecting everybody. Everybody looked undesirable to me. Everybody looked disgusting to me. Oh, God. And what's crazy is that I know that I'm identifying with a lot of these different spells, but again, you guys don't understand the torture that I was going through for years, years. But I have no idea as to who would want to do this to me, to be honest. I have yet to figure out who that person is. At one point I did think it was one of my aunts, and then I don't think that's the case anymore. Just based off of recent events. And so I'm just really confused as to why anybody would want to do this. I don't know. And number 10, the magic of being able to not perform during sex with your spouse, with your husband or wife. Usually this is done unto men, and this is where the man just can't seem to perform during those times. These are the symptoms for it. So again, this comes out of nowhere, you know. So one night you're able to make love to your wife normally, and then the next night you're just like repulsed by her, or you can't, you don't find yourself attracted to her, you don't find your body reacting to her, stuff like that, you know. If you think about it, what is a jinn trying to prevent you from doing in that sense? Did you say it? Reproduction? Yes. So having children, being able to love your wife, that is the one pure thing you can do with your husband or wife, and that is to make love. You get so many good sawab just for doing that, which is completely the opposite of when you do it out of wedlock. But when you are in that committed relationship, united by Allah, it is one of the best things you can do with your husband or wife. Not only that, but one of the other things that completes a Muslim in their religion is by getting married and by having children. Once you have children, you complete a lot of your religion, your religious duties, excuse me. So, yeah, that would be an important factor. Why? Why would they want you to stop having children and reproducing? Besides the fact that they hate us all and wish we were all dead, but besides that, they just don't want to see mankind continue. They want to stop the existence of mankind, right? So in order to do that, how do you do that? You go straight to the source. You cause them to not even be able to reproduce or even want to reproduce. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, following me? And yeah, that's all I really have for you in this video. What do you guys think? Do you feel as though someone in your life has been hexed or has had a spell put on them in some sense? Do you feel like you're currently, experiencing Jinn-like, what's the word I'm looking for, interactions, or do you currently feel like you have felt some kind of Jinn-like effects? Do you feel like you're currently under a spell? Do you feel like you know someone who was put a spell on? Do you feel like you know someone in your life currently who may be a magician but may be lying to your face about the whole ordeal? Magicians will never just tell you that they are playing with jinns. They will never just openly admit it. Usually they're the ones that are the biggest hypocrites, the ones that will say that they are the believer, the one and only believer in God, that they have such a strong connection with their creator, etc., 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 and cause you to believe that they are one of the perfect Muslims or whatever the sense. It doesn't matter what religion they are, but usually they will be the ones that are like, I am so religious, I'm so spiritual, I have a connection with God. But they're the main ones going against God's words themselves. So, with that being said, let me know how you feel. Let me know about your experiences in the comment section below. I would love to hear about them. And let me know if you actually want to hear some of my experiences, what I've just recently experienced by starting this YouTube channel, or stuff that I've experienced prior to the YouTube channel that after I've done some digging and research about my enemy here on God's green earth, which is the Shaitan and Jinns, it has opened my eyes, and it almost unlocked some memories for me that I didn't really realize were explainable, that I written off or dismissed in the past, thinking nothing of it. But once you learn of all the symptoms and you learn all of the effects and causes and your enemy's desire, their main goal in life, you start to understand everything on a much deeper level. When things happen to you, you can figure out, where is this energy coming from? Is this energy coming from my creator? Is this energy coming from my destroyer? Which one? Anyways, excuse the bag under my eyes. I always have bags under my eyes because my sleep is always messed up. I'm trying to fix that, but it is what it is. Anyways, I'll see you guys all in my next video. Give this video a thumbs up if you loved it or just liked it. It can talk about this topic for days. So if you have something interesting to contribute to the conversation, please tell me in the comment section down below. So remember to always stay kind, spread love, spread knowledge, and I will see you guys all in my next videos. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Follow me on IG @Gorgylux. Bye!